Welcome to this week's Scotty Bet TV. Jam-packed show this week. We've got Scotty's Set, we've got the long shot, we've got the Ake, and we've also got the Anfield nap, Liverpool versus Manchester City, big game on Sunday, and also Toffee's tip, Everton versus Hull City on Saturday. Also, profitable last week, wasn't it? Joey Barton done us a right good turn, didn't he? 5-2 he was to get booked. Interestingly, the bookie did slim the odds right down come match day. He was round about 6-4, even as short as 11-10 with some bookmakers. So it's important you shop around. I'll give you the best price available, and I will mention the bookie as well to make sure you get that best possible price. But furthermore, plenty more in this week's show. Stay tuned. Everton 1-2, Hull City 7-1. Bookies have made their minds up and punters have too. Looking at the majority of the bets coming through, Everton are going to be in everyone's doubles, trebles, fourfolds and accumulators Saturday afternoon. They're going to be a shoe-in. But Hull City haven't beaten Everton since 1952, so the odds suggest that it could carry on for furthermore. But the bet for me in this one is looking at the goals conceded for Hull City. Now, 70% of the goals conceded for Hull happens in the second half. Now, it's alarming that. That must mean that Hull are starting off games well, tiring towards the end, and that's where they lose the concentration. But for me, Everton to score in both halves is 7-5. That's a cracking bet, and that's the one I'm tipping in this one. I wouldn't put anyone off the 2 or more goals scored in the second half. That's 6-5 with most bookmakers as well. But Everton, a goal in each half, 7-5. That's my bet in the Everton versus Hull match. Now it's the big match on Sunday, isn't it? At the Etihad, Manchester City, even money to beat Liverpool, who are at 3-1 themselves. Now, if you're looking at the stats in this one that jumped out at me was Liverpool have scored in the last 12 matches against Manchester City. Very good records against them. And Jurgen Klopp has got one over on Pep Guardiola. He's beaten him 5 times, a couple of German matches as well, and also this season, that 1-0 victory on New Year's Eve. So I think Liverpool will fancy themselves in this one quietly, but the bet for me is the goal situation. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. In fact, the games between Liverpool and Manchester City, it's averaging 4 goals per game. 11 in the last 11 matches between the two sides, 44 goals have been scored. Huge amount, and the 2-1 shout for 4 or more goals in this match. Is my bet. It's 2-1 with most bookmakers, so you can vary on that one. So 2-1, 4 or more goals in the Manchester City versus Liverpool match. Now, this week's Ake, it's a both teams to score effort once more. We had it 2 weeks on the spin. Last week, just 1 or 2 teams let us down. We're going with it once more. Bournemouth versus Swansea, Cardiff versus Ipswich, Rochdale versus Gillingham, and Luton versus Exeter. Pays around 10-1. If you didn't get your pens ready there, don't worry, they'll be flashing on the screen. We're relying on John Moss once again to provide Scotty's Set. He done us a right good turn a couple of weeks ago, followed it up the week after, and now we've had to wait a week. He was out of action last week, and we're going with him again. This time he's refereeing Middlesbrough versus Manchester United. Big game, isn't it? The Man United have committed have committed more fouls than Manchester United this season. Middlesbrough are averaging 2.5 yellow cards per game themselves, but we all know what John Moss is like, don't we? 87 cards this season out from 20 games. 4.5 he's averaging per game. Looks a shoe-in, doesn't it? So it's 11-8 with Sky Bet. Both teams to have 2 cards or more. So that's 2 yellow cards for Middlesbrough, 2 yellow cards for Man United. I think it's an absolutely cracking bet, considering John Moss is in charge. That's my Scotty Set. Bit of a long shot, I know, but Stoke at 6-1 to beat Chelsea. I don't know, for me, Chelsea's 2 of the last 3 away games have been draws against Burnley and Liverpool. I don't know, something's telling me about Stoke. Everton and Manchester United have struggled to take points from Stoke this season at their ground. So, do you know what? I think the 6-1 for Stoke. Don't forget, Stoke haven't been beaten at their ground once since September. So it tells you where their strengths lie. And I can see them giving Chelsea a game. For me, 6-1, huge value. Home team. Yeah, we all know how good Chelsea are, but for that value, 6-1, even tried at 12-1 on both teams to score and Stoke to win. Stoke for me, bit of a long shot, good value. And now it's your bet section of the show. Lollies have been in touch once more. Let's go straight onto our Facebook page. Let's go. And then we've got, first up, we've got Craig, who says Inverness versus Ross County. Both teams to score and over 2.5. He's a Scottish fan, he supports Celtic, he knows his onions up there. Also, we've got on our Twitter page, we've got Costa will do something, Mark Manny says, wear to red, but not to get booked. Also, Chris Nicholson says Everton over 2.5 and Bournemouth versus Swansea over 3.5. I agree with you on that one. So that's a good, very good shout. Also agree with Dave here, 1470, who says Liverpool City 4 or more goals. That's our tip in our Anfield map, isn't it? We're going along with that one. Fan of LFC says over 2.5 goals and both teams to score in the Hoffenheim versus Leverkusen. And Manchester City, Liverpool once more. It's a peculiar theme, that one. Manchester City, Liverpool, guarantee for goals, we all think. Robbie always been in touch. He says, and an athletic again for me, Tony, this week. Hashtag ScottyBetTV. He's a big fan of Annan, and he won him a few bob last week. Also, Mark Max being in touch. He said, I'll give you a 7-1 treble, mate. He's that confident. It doesn't land. He'll refund all losing bets. We'll get some marks if it doesn't. His treble is QPR 1-2, Southend 21-20, and Crew 6-4. That's his treble. Thanks for being in touch. We'll see you next week on ScottyBetTV.